everybody. Good evening. It's Ellen Lewis from Crazy for You. And I am so happy you're here because tonight I want to share with you a new to me yarn. It's not a new yarn, but it's new to me, called Amelie by Illimani. And I got to tell you, it is one of the most beautiful yarns I have ever worked with. And that's saying something, right? So if you get the newsletter, this is the yarn that I've been talking about. If you watch the podcast at all, this is the yarn that came up when I was talking about the things that I wanted to knit in 2023. I've had this yarn in the shop and I've petted it and fondled it every chance I've gotten. I've swatched it. I have, thought about all the things that I want to make with it. And I thought, I haven't done a podcast on this. I haven't reviewed this. So I wanted to do that for you tonight. Hi, Polly. Hey, Gail. Hey, Ellen. Hey, Jal. Hey, Pat. Nice to see you guys. So I'm still swatching because I will tell you, I've been having some kind of a little something in my wrist. Those of you in the medical profession will probably know just what this is, but I think it's from having my elbow bent too much. I'm a little bit tingly, right here. And I think it might be like the start of tendinitis. I don't have carpal tunnel, I don't think, but I've been trying to take it easy on the knitting, but I've had a lot to kind of get done. So my swatch is not as big as it should be, but I think it will show you everything you need to know. So about Illimani and Amelie. So Illimani is based in Canada, but the yarns come from South America. And this one, I think they're all really pretty, and I may bring in some more later, but Amelie really struck me. So we've been talking about modern construction yarns on and off over the past couple years. And Amelie is a modern construction. It's one of those tube yarns or blown yarns where they take a fine strand of a smooth yarn and they create a tiny little I-cord, almost like a teeny tiny pair of stockings, right? And then they blow into it these fibers. And the tube can be made of all manner of fibers. Typically, we see it made of cotton or silk. It can be made of polyester. It actually has a great deal of application in the not commercial, but industrial community. So anyway, this one in particular is the tube is made of silk. So that's going to be a beautiful yarn anyway. The second thing that's really nice is that the fibers blown inside are baby alpaca. So, oh my gosh, two of the softest, silkiest, most beautiful yarns in the whole wide world, right? But they don't always play to really great garments, right? Silk can be incredibly lacking in drape and not in drape, in structure, and it can stretch out. And the same thing with alpaca. It lacks a lot of structure. But because of this construction method with the silk being worked in a little tube and the fibers blown inside, you get this really light, little bit bouncy fabric. That the yarn is a little bit bouncy. So it's really, really beautiful, and it makes a great sweater. So that's something I'm always looking for. The other thing is that it doesn't pill. So who doesn't love that, right? Hi, Denise. Let's see. She bought hers. Yes. Oh, good, good. Hey, Eveline. Hi, Anne. Let's see. Yeah, it's a completely different construction than Celestina. Celestina is a chainette construction. This has a chainette construction, but it's different. So it's not going to be a pilly mess. So about it. It comes in 50-gram hanks, and it has 164 yards, and it's a heavy worsted weight yarn. So if you think about heavy worsted weight yarns, like let's say an Aran weight yarn that knits at, say, 16 stitches over 4 inches, a 50-gram ball is usually going to have under 100 yards, something like 94 to 98 yards per 50 grams. But because this is so light, did you hear me say 164 yards per 50 grams? And that's not because it's skinny. It's because it's really, really light. So it's beautiful. So let me show you. I'm going to share my camera here and share it with you. Hi, Karen. Nice to see you. All right. And I have a ruler. I think I have a ruler. Yes, here's a ruler. Get my glasses. Okay, so here is my swatch. And as I said, I know it's not as big a swatch as it might be. I only want this swatch to show you how the fabric looks at different gauges. So I did this on a tiny needle right here. It's not really tiny, but it's tiny for this yarn. Okay, so I did this first part of the swatch on a size 8 needle. So let's see what the gauge is on an 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is looking about like 5.5, which is a DK weight. So this is definitely tight for this yarn. But I show you this because a lot of the patterns that have used this yarn are knit at 20 to 22. So I want to show you what that fabric looks like because today is really about the patterns that you might use for this yarn. So it's a nice structured fabric. It's sturdy, but it's really not stiff. It is thick. So here it is on a 9 needle, this second swatch here. Whoops. Another party heard from. That was Charlie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So about 9 stitches over 4 inches. So that's going to be about 4.5, right? Which is about what I consider this yarn's native gauge to be, 4 to 4.5. But this next one I did on a 10.5. And you can see it's much looser, but I still think it doesn't, you can't see through it. It doesn't look all floppy and everything. So let's see what this gauge is. One, two, three. Yep. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see. I think if I got this a little more, this would probably be 3.5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, because you see how this is still small. I would say this is more going to be like 3.25 to 3.5. And I think if you didn't mind it being a little looser, you could still knit this on an 11. But I think that would be about all that you would want to go with this. Although I am going to show you some patterns today that have knit this yarn at 12 stitches over 4 inches. And I think that if you don't mind it being a little bit loose, I think they would be absolutely fine. So let's see. Could this be used for the Emma? I think you would have to swatch it and see how you like it on a size 11 needle at 3 stitches. I think it might be a little loose, but maybe, I think maybe it's a good thought and I might try that. But again, I need to swatch it to see if I would like it at 12 stitches over 4 inches. Probably. I guess the answer is probably. Is that a good answer? Okay, so let's talk about the colors. So it comes in, I wanted to show you this other first. Whoops. Okay, so it comes in a range of neutrals. So this is, it's called charcoal. But what I want to point out is that the tube of this yarn is white and the fibers are the color of the fabric. So the tube in every one of these colors is the same, but the way it presents depends on how much contrast there is between the white tube and the fiber. So you see it has much more contrast here in the dark than in the pale gray or the beige. You begin to see it some more in this brown and then in the navy. And of course, here in these dark ones, you have this. This is a kind of a red purple. This is more of a blue purple. This pink is to die for gorgeous. I mean, it feels as soft as it looks. And then there's this blue. This is actually the color I'm swatching with, so I don't know how that these are as true as they might be. And then there's a very pretty forest green. So let's look at the patterns. As I said, that we have patterns that I've pulled that have used this yarn from a gauge of 21 to 22 stitches over 4 inches. So the first one is Perennial by Nora Gone, which looks beautiful. The yarn has great stitch definition. So let me tell you real quick what I did is I pulled examples of the projects knit in this, but I did not post other people's pictures. Okay. I didn't think it would be right for me to post on a public forum pictures from within Ravelry that were not mine unless they were the designers. So if you go to the bottom of this, you can see the link to the project that used the Illimani in this pattern, and you can see that. So you would have to go into Ravelry to do that because, like I said, I just don't want to invade anybody's privacy and post their pictures out here. But it's easy peasy to go in and look at their project. So this is gorgeous, and this is knit at a gauge, I believe, of 22, and it has a beautiful cable pattern down the front and the back. And cables are great in this yarn because, as I said, it's so light. It's so beautifully light that you don't get the weight that you typically get with cables. So this is a pretty one. Ginny Stein has actually knit this in a yarn that had a construction kind of like this Celestina, just a chainette. Very pretty, nice and bouncy. So those are both pretty, and they are worked at a worsted DK gauge. This is another one. This is knit a little tight. This is the Jenny sweater by Petite Knit. And it has a very pretty kind of smocked texture, you know, super nice. And again, you get a lot of texture here. It takes a lot of yarn, but it doesn't weigh a lot. Okay, so sweaters that are knit at the native gauge of this yarn. Okay, a lot of people use this for the stranded because, again, it's not so heavy, right? This is a beautiful stranded sweater. This actually, I believe, is the Illimani, as is this. So stranded sweater in it, very nice. And then look at this gorgeous coat. Oh, how pretty is that? That's Apex by designer Olga Jazzy. And then for those of you who love Isabel Kramer, I know she is everybody's favorite. Mycroft, this is pretty. Again, you've got these lovely ribs at the top that would showcase the yarn so nicely. Her stuff is very pretty and just very casual. That would be pretty on my friend Andrea. And then the Cumulus blouse. You will see that there are a lot of designs I've picked by Petite Knit because Petite Knit uses a strand of mohair typically, or two lighter strands to give you a solid feeling fabric without something that feels heavy. So this is a nice alternative. The Amelie is a nice alternative if you don't necessarily want to carry mohair, okay? This is a gorgeous sweater. This is actually, the sample is knit in the charcoal color of Amelie. Lots of cables, really lovely. I think that's so pretty. Big Love has been around for a while. This is a very pretty cardigan. It really is a large sweater, and it's feels kind of heavy in a lot of yarn. So unless you're going to knit this in a tubular yarn or a blown yarn, like a tubular yarn like Amelie, I think it might feel a little heavy. But in this yarn, I think it would be spectacular. Marie Green, this is just a basic V-neck. So I think that's kind of cute. I love this one. I don't know this designer well, but I think this is a beautiful sweater, and it looks really especially lovely if you look at the person who knit it in the Amelie. Just beautiful. I love how the cables sort of appear flat because they're so wide, and the reverse stockinette is narrow, so they don't pop as much, but I just think that's so elegant. Okay, Linger Here is another one that has a similar kind of cable thing going on. You know, these are asymmetrical cables, which are very pretty. And then you've got a little bit of, I think this is ribbing up here, so slightly different. Very pretty. September sweater, which is in a fisherman rib. Very pretty. Yeah, that big love in navy, that would be gorgeous, wouldn't it? Yeah, they're beautiful. I had fun pulling these. This was really great. Hello. Okay, so those are the sweaters that are worked, say, 18 to 20 stitches. This is maybe a little bit also their native gauge. So the ball band says, I think, 14 to 17, or can't remember. But from the swatching of it, all of these would absolutely work. And it's a beautiful, really versatile yarn. So look at this one, Ashwood. Can you see how the black Amelie really, really showcases those cables? So pretty. You get just the right amount of, I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but complexity and depth to the fabric because of the way the yarn is constructed. It's just so, so pretty. It's black, but it's not like black, like you wouldn't want to wear it or want to knit it. And this one, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Somebody, I think it might be an Irish name, so has definitely a different pronunciation. But Gail, actually, you're the one who brought this to my attention. This would be beautiful with its twisted rib, just very basic. And then the increase line here for the raglan is done with yarn over increases. So I think that's really pretty. Did you hear that? Sounds like we might have had a crisis out there with the dog bowl. It's dinner time. Okay, look how pretty this is too. I don't typically think of making a big heavy duster because I worry that it will be too loose, you know, that it will stretch out. So I really want to be careful when I think about this, but because Amelie is so light, I think it would be gorgeous. And this one is designed for the Amelie in the white, so I think that's really, really pretty. Love that. This is by Vicki Chan. And this is called Graphite or Graphite. I'm not sure exactly, but this is just kind of a grandpa cardigan with a nice stitch pattern and very clean lines. There's no shaping, but it's very pretty. Again, it shows those cables in that yarn. So the imperfect stitcher here made a great comment. Core yarn looks reflective. Yes, that's a beautiful way to say it. Thank you. I love that. Colvin would be gorgeous in it. You know, I love Julie Hoover. I think this is such an elegant shape, and it looks so pretty with that collar. I have to tell you, I really think that you would want to knit a pullover in this because for me, I want it right next to my skin. All right, where am I? Okay, I was surprised when I saw that a lot of people had done love notes with it, but I can see that that would work because it is the right gauge, and this is worked, or it's designed for a strand of fingering and a strand of mohair worked at like 16. But if you're not into the mohair or you really just don't want that fine a fabric, this would be a beautiful alternative. It's a really pretty sweater. Everybody's been making it, super popular. So I think that would be kind of cute and a fun way to get onto the love notes trend. That would be really pretty in that pale pink, huh? Ellen Orr likes the idea of the cumulus in the pink. I think this would be pretty in the pink also. Except I have to remind myself that I don't wear crew necks. Okay, so again, this is just another kind of grandpa cardigan, the farmhouse cardigan by Amy Christoffers. Very pretty, very easy fit. Julie Hoover, again, I love her stuff. I think it's so classic. I love this ingenue collar that she's got on there. It would be lovely in this. And this is the sweater that I was talking about wanting to knit in this yarn. So I love it because it looks super cozy. It's got a split hem, drop shoulders, nice cozy turtleneck. I just think that's really pretty. Of course, I may change my mind, you know. There's so many pretty options here, right? And we just did a petite knit, so I don't know. We'll see. All right, this one is called Tar by Melanie Berg. This is very pretty and very clean and simple. I would see this as a really nice transitional kind of sweater, like a spring sweater. If you did this in a spring color with the 3/4 sleeves, I think that would be super nice. And then you could layer it as she's done here with a little tank or a tee or something. Of course, the weekender, perfect gauge for the weekender. I think that would be really pretty. All right. Ellen loves the Wednesday sweater. Yes. And Lisa loves Tar. Yes, very pretty. And I think this would be nice, Lisa, if you had a little negative ease on there. So I think that would be kind of cool. All right. Okay, Franca by Julie Weisenberger. So as you guys know, Julie Weisenberger is the designer behind Coco Knits, and Franca would be a beautiful design for this yarn. You mentioned Emma, Ellen. I think it would be pushing it a little bit, but Franca would be perfect. And again, you could get away with the length there because it wouldn't be saggy because it's so very light. This is a great design with pockets, super cute, and it's worked in the Coco Knits method from the top down. You know, I love Coco Knits. So let's see. I've been thinking about a weekender. Yep, if you've been thinking about a weekender, this might be the time. It might be the yarn for you. I think you'd really like it. Yes, very tempting. Okay, again, I have a lot of dusters pulled because dusters are really big for 2023, you know, the spring and even into the fall. We're seeing a lot of dusters, and I think it would be a great looking twin set. So I wouldn't do a duster in just any yarn. It would have to be nice and light. So I think that's pretty. Very basic, right? But pretty. Okay, now don't everybody groan, but these bralettes, these little cami, cropped cami things, I got to tell you, they are everywhere. I spend a lot of time looking at runway shows. Don't ask me why. I guess I'm obsessed. It's kind of strange, but they are everywhere. Cropped all the way. You don't have to make it cropped, but this look of the knitted bra top is absolutely everywhere. Every designer is showing it, and they are showing it under blouses. They are showing it under jackets. They are showing it by itself. They are showing it in twin sets. It's amazing. And you don't have to knit it cropped, and you don't have to knit it, wear it bare. But I do think the idea of a little knitted cami peeking out under maybe another sweater, maybe a jacket. I don't know, but I got to tell you, I want one of these. And the way this yarn feels, this is the one I want to make it in. It doesn't take a lot of yarn. So I think this would be a great way to dip your toe into Amelie is this. I have a bralette, a cami swatched, but it's in fingering weight yarn on size 2 needles. And this one is just suddenly so much more appealing, not to mention the yarn. Okay, here's another petite knits, super easy little vest, very cute. I think Andrea knit this already, so very, very pretty, easy design. No sleeves, knits up quick. Okay, remember we were talking about the shacket last one time ago when we were talking about the Kim Hargreaves Adore collection. This garment that's like part dress shirt, part jacket, very big look, and this would be very pretty in the Amelie. Again, you can see the actual garment knitted in Amelie if you go to the link that is at the bottom of the page. And I will be posting this video on the Amelie page on my website. So if you miss any of the links or the pictures or anything, you can just go there and it will be right there, as well as, of course, in YouTube. All right, what else? Okay, these are the garments that are shown in a gauge of 12 to 14 stitches over 4 inches. Turtle Dove. Okay, everybody in the world has made this. It's so cute. It is by Espace Tricot, and it's very cute. Knit from the top down. I don't know what to tell you. Just a curved hem, very simple, turtleneck, soft as a cloud because of the yarn. They knit it in a yarn from Woolfolk that is very similar to this, but not as soft. So I'm all about this. I thought this was really cute. This is just a basic 3/4, easy fitting split hem mock turtle. Thought that was really cute. Sometimes you just want a basic, this is the kind of yarn that looks great in basics. You could do the magnolia in this. I think a lot of us did magnolia bloom in a worsted weight plus a strand of kid silk haze, and this is going to be approximately that same look and feel. So if you wanted to do the one with the short sleeves, make it a spring sweater, I think that would be really cute. This would be very fun to do. You could also do the magnolia bloom, which has the motif at the top, and then just give yourself short sleeves. Either way is completely fine. This is cute with that twisted rib at the bottom. Looks very pretty. All right, and then of course, novice sweater, chunky edition. This is knit at, I think it's 13, so very, very kind of open, right? Petite knits again, top down. Let's see. Do you have the copper color of Amelie? Not yet, but it is on order. So that's a new color. So we're waiting for that. I think that's lovely. Okay. So this is the Sunday sweater, again by Petite Knit, and I think this would be really pretty in that copper color. Ellen, if you love this color, the copper color is very pretty. It's kind of a burnt orange. That would be beautiful. This has the pretty sleeve interest, which I think is super nice. I like that. I'm maybe not the biggest fan of this bodice for me personally, but I think it's a beautiful sweater. Here is her Louisiana sweater. You can see how this is kind of a loose knit as it's intended to be. It reminds me a lot of the sweater that I showed in the brushed fleece on size 15, the church mouse designs. It's meant to be kind of open, right? So anyway, that is a collection of sweaters that I think would be perfect for Amelie. And like I said, we do have, except for the copper that is coming, we have the colors that I think are nice. I'll be honest, there are a couple colors in the range that I did not order because they don't speak to me. There's kind of a daffodil yellow and sort of an orangey red. And I just didn't order those because, like I said, it didn't speak to me or anyone in the shop when we were ordering it. But if you want those, if that's something that you want, just send me a private message and I'd be happy to get that for you. But the copper is on order, and there's one other new color that's on order, as well as the palest gray. So new colors coming, but I think it is a beautiful yarn. And if you have not touched it, you absolutely need to get your hands on some and swatch it up, because I think you will absolutely love it. Anybody have any questions or comments? I think we have like 1 minute left. I'd be happy to answer those. My dogs have settled down. You don't hear them, do you? All right. Why are, let's see. They looked beautiful when I stopped by the store. Yes, you immediately gravitated to them, right? They are so enticing. I mean, they're the kind of things that you look at and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to touch that, you know? And then when you do, you just can't believe how soft it is. I mean, it's kind of unimaginable, isn't it? You touched it, didn't you, didn't you, Terry? Let's see. Could this be used for lemongrass? Remind me again the gauge of lemongrass. I want to say yes. No itchy sweater. Yes. So I think that's a really, really great point, Polly, is that for people who are sensitive to mohair, I obviously am not, because this is a mohair sweater that I'm wearing right now next to my skin. And I personally love it, but a lot of people are very sensitive to it. So if that's you, this is the kind of thing that you can wear right next to the skin without a hint of itch. So super good. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this little presentation on Amelie, and I hope that I have inspired you to knit something beautiful. Till next time, keep knitting and create something beautiful yourself. Have a great evening. Let's see, 13 stitches, 20 rows. Yes, yes, lemongrass would work. It would work for lemongrass. Okay, bye.